Quick quiz. Who works harder? Grace, who juggles 2 jobs, takes night classes, and still has to debate whether she can afford name-brand cereal? Or her boss, who makes 6 figures, takes Fridays off and thinks busy means missing a Pilates class? Yeah, that one stings a little. Because somewhere along the line, someone pushed this idea that if you're poor, it must be because you're lazy. Like being broke is just the result of not grinding hard enough. Like if you just got up earlier or hustled harder, your bank account would magically stop gaslighting you. But here's the truth. You're not poor because you're lazy. Robert proves it. Robert wakes up at 5:30 every morning. He's out the door by 6. He drives for a rideshare app until 9, clocks in at his retail job by 10, works until 6, and then delivers food until 10. By the time he gets home, it's not just his feet that are sore, it's his spirit. And yet, Robert's still barely covering rent. He's not shopping. He's not dining out. He's not blowing money on lattes and avocado toast. He's just surviving. And he's exhausted. So where's the disconnect? Why can someone work 60 hours a week and still have $12.47 in their checking account? Here's where the real conversation starts. It's not just about how hard you work. It's about what your work is worth. And who gets to decide that? Robert makes $17 an hour. His rent, $1,400 a month. Basic groceries, $400. Gas, bills, and a few surprise life happens charges? That leaves him with enough to blink and not much else. And this is the system millions of people are operating in. They're working, they're showing up, they're doing all the right things. But the game is tilted. Wages haven't kept up with inflation. Living costs rise like a rocket. Meanwhile, that $17 per hour paycheck is trying to keep pace on a treadmill with no off switch. Robert isn't lazy. He's trapped. Trapped in a system where working hard isn't enough anymore. Where productivity has skyrocketed, but wages, meh. They've barely blinked. And you know what really messes with your head? Watching social media influencers talking about just waking up at 4 a.m. and manifesting money while you're in line at the gas station, hoping your debit card goes through. It's not laziness. It's that the ladder got longer, the rungs got thinner, and no one's handing out a safety harness. But here's what no one tells you. There's a big difference between poverty of income and poverty of access. Grace's cousin, Maya, works part-time while going to college full-time. She's smart, driven, constantly juggling assignments and shifts at her campus bookstore. But she's also helping support her younger siblings and sending money back home to help with rent. She doesn't have time for unpaid internships, fancy networking events, or building her personal brand on LinkedIn. Every hour she's not working is a financial risk. But here's what's wild. Maya isn't underperforming. She's overfunctioning in an under-resourced environment. And this is the part that gets missed when people throw around the lazy label. They don't see the hours. They don't see the choices people don't have. They only see the outcome and assume that must be a reflection of effort. But that's like watching someone lose a race and assuming they didn't train hard enough when they were running uphill in sandals while dragging a backpack full of bricks. Now let's be real. There are people who waste money, people who make impulsive choices. We all do it, but the system is designed in a way where mistakes are expensive for the poor and invisible for the rich. Robert misses a credit card payment? Boom, interest spikes to 29%, plus a late fee. Meanwhile, his boss forgets to pay a vendor on time and gets invited to a golf tournament anyway. See the difference? It's not just about how hard you work, it's about how forgiving your world is when you mess up. Wealthy people, they get cushions, safety nets, bailouts. Poor people, they get penalties. This stuff isn't moral, it's mathematical. And until we understand that, we keep blaming the wrong variable. Let's go back to Grace. She tried to start a small business selling handmade candles. She saved for months, bought supplies, built a website, even did her own marketing. But when sales didn't take off in the first 3 months, she had to stop. Rent came due. Bills piled up. Car repairs showed up like an uninvited guest. She didn't fail because she lacked ambition. She failed because she didn't have runway. And that's a word you hear a lot in startups. Runway is how much time and money a business has before it needs to become profitable or raise more funds. Jeff Bezos got years of runway. Grace got a month. Again, not a laziness problem. It's a leverage problem. Now let's talk about the cost of just existing. Living while poor is expensive. Robert can't afford to buy in bulk, so he pays more per item. His credit score took a hit, so his car loan has a 19% interest rate. He rents, so he can't build equity. He lives farther from his job because rent was cheaper, so he spends more on gas. It's like trying to climb out of a hole with a shovel made of spaghetti. And every time you try to save, life throws a wrench. Unexpected dentist bill. Pet gets sick. Groceries hit $100 for 4 items and a sneeze. You save $200, and a $200 emergency shows up like it's been watching your account balance from across the street. But here's the thing. People like Robert and Grace aren't lazy. They're actually economically strategic under pressure, stretching budgets, maximizing side hustles, learning how to make rice and beans taste like a 5-star meal. They're constantly solving microeconomic puzzles with fewer tools than they should have. And still they're told, if you really wanted to be rich, you just work harder. As if hustle alone guarantees success. But let's flip the script. If hustle equals wealth, single moms would own half of Wall Street. If grind guaranteed millions, every line cook working double shifts would be in a mansion. Clearly something's off. And here's where things start to change. Not by shaming people for being broke, but by recognizing the truth. You're not poor because you're lazy. You're poor because systems were built without you in mind. Because access to opportunity isn't equal. Because education doesn't teach personal finance. Because wages haven't kept up while costs sprinted ahead like they're in a marathon with no finish line. But knowing that, it doesn't mean you give up. It means you stop blaming yourself for struggling in a system that rewards capital more than effort. And that's when you can start building smarter. Robert started looking for new income paths, not just more hours. He learned a new skill online for free, took on small freelance gigs, started saving $50 a month to invest in himself, even when it felt like a stretch. Not because he thought it would make him a millionaire tomorrow, but because he was done playing defense forever. Grace, instead of burning out again, partnered with a friend who had some savings and offered to do marketing and fulfillment in exchange for a cut of profits. Now her candle biz is back, slowly, but this time with backup. And Maya? She got a scholarship after she told her story to a professor who connected her with resources she didn't even know existed. Not magic, not overnight, but possible. So in conclusion, you're not poor because you're lazy. You're poor because you've been asked to run a marathon while wearing ankle weights, with no map and a crowd shouting that you're just not trying hard enough. Hard work matters, but systems matter more. If you're working, budgeting, hustling, and still struggling, it's not because you failed. It's because you were handed a broken compass and told to find north. So stop blaming yourself. Start questioning the system. Start learning how it works. Start finding cracks where you can build something better, even if it's one brick at a time. If you want me to make other videos explaining these topics, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.